That's sick.
That's soon. That's fast, dog. That's fast. How long has it been in the works for, bro?
I hope all that shit was off air.
All that shit.
All that shit.
Yeah, I'll cut that out, bro.
Yep.
Yeah. it was on there, but I'll cut it out. I edit anything you don't want me like.
Just that.
Yeah.
Just that.
But all the like the.
Don't need any negative
remodel,
publicity.
Like,
Yeah, everything else
are
are good. Yeah.
for sure. Hell yeah. Nah, people will be excited if they hear Profes coming back, bro. Yeah, that's sick.
So with the city, it's basically going to be like, we never left, you know?
Type thing.
Yeah.
Like that.
So you have a reason to hate you fuckers more.
I was thinking about it for a while because I didn't want to switch the concept over too much because obviously it's him. It's a brand that he's built. It's something that he's done for the last 6 years. So for me, it was something like, let's do something that honors the place without completely changing it, but something that from a straight, like, you know?
Is this your first, will that be your first, because obviously, so you have restaurants, but is that going to be your first, like, bar?
Yeah, it's going to be the first bar. So I'm pretty excited.
That's dope. Yeah, hell yeah. Well, I, honestly, the whole podcast is pretty candid, bro, so it's pretty natural, but I usually do, like, a little introduction. So it's episode 36, so the most vulnerable player. We're sitting down with Arturo. How do you say your last name?
Alluin?
Alluin.
Like
Okay.
with the J. Alluin.
Alluin. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that like Spanish or what is that? Like
That's Belgian French.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, Belgian French. It's in French. It's actually Alluin.
Alwan. Oh
Alwan.
damn, that's thick, bro.
In Spanish, it's Alluin.
Alluin.
Can you speak French
Yeah.
fluently?
Yes, sir.
Dang, that's dope, bro. That's better. How'd
French,
you learn how to speak
English,
French?
German, and Spanish.
Wow.
Fluently, for
Hell
the
yeah.
most part.
Yeah. So Arturo Alluin,
Yeah.
owner of Melting Pot, Sushitto, and
Kiyoshi.
Kiyoshi. That one's coming soon.
That one's coming soon.
You guys will definitely hear more about that in the next. Well, this is maybe one of the first times that. Well,
It's
I'm
the
sure
first time
that
like,
you've
today's
like
the first
really
day that we've really
damn. So
disclosed
we're
it.
getting the inside scoop. Yeah, that's exciting.
Because
Man.
we were out and about over the weekend. Like, I mean, we were checking out a couple new places there. And people were asking, they've been asking him, they've been asking me, hey, what's going on? Hey, what happened? I mean, we've posted some pictures of like the demo work going down. And right away, you know, everybody wants to know, hey, what's happening? What's going on? Are you guys remodeling only? Are you guys renaming, rebranding? What's going on? What is it going to be? You know, and it's kind of been kept on the down low. And we're just saying, yeah, we're just working on it. We're just working on it. And
do you have like relationships with like the other bar owners like on Cincy and stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, Dickie and I don't know who owns Champagne,
got
bro.
Austin, you've got Rick.
Yeah, Rick's Champagne owner. Yeah,
Rick, Austin, you know, and then you have
Austin is over what bars?
Austin and Jonathan are at Palomino and El Camino Crudo, the new crudo or like seafood oyster bar.
Okay,
that
yeah,
opened
okay.
right next to Palomino.
And what about Good Times and International? Who was that?
Good Times it's a big group.
Oh, okay.
But it's Patrick McNeil.
It's
Patrick McNeil. He's like kind of like the face, at least what I've known, you know,
Sweet, yeah.
for both Good Times and he also owns Lowbrow.
Oh, Lowbrow Palace. Okay.
So Lowbrow Palace, Good Times, and International.
Wow.
Dope.
So
dope. Yeah. So are you So were you born here in El Paso?
No, I was born in close to Mexico City, Toluca.
Oh wow! So did you eventually get your citizenship or like?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Oh wow!
2 years
okay.
ago.
So you grew up. What was the city again? I'm sorry.
So I was born in Toluca. My family is from Puebla.
Okay.
So Toluca is a little bit south of Mexico, and then Puebla is towards the southeast.
Wow! And how long up until what age? Like were you?
Up until when I was like 5 or 6.
5 or 6.
We moved to Juarez. So my family moved to Juarez when I was 6, about 5.5, 6, and then I was basically brought over. Yeah, brought across. I got a student visa and started elementary at Our Lady of the Valley. So down in the lower valley, right across Isleta.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of friends from Isleta, a lot of friends from Riverside, a lot of friends from Eastwood, Montwood.
Wow.
You know, that left after we graduated 8th grade or middle school and went off to, you know, all the lower valley, east side area. Because I was still living in Juarez, and I moved from Juarez to El Paso when I was when I came back from college. So
wow. So you were crossing every day?
Every day.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember I came over speaking zero English. Zero. I was the only Mexican kid back in 1995 1996. The only Mexican kid in all of Our Lady of the Valley from pre-K to 8th grade.
Damn. That's insane.
then
And it's crazy because you're the güerito. So like,
But I didn't understand anything.
Yeah.
I would cry. I remember I would cry every day for like maybe a week or 2 weeks because, I mean, that was just literally, we came from south of Mexico to Juarez, knew no one, to the U.S., knew no one, and then they just dropped me off, and I didn't understand anything.
Right.
And a lot of teachers wouldn't even speak Spanish. It wasn't like how it is now or like how it was when I graduated. So when I graduated, what was it, 2005? I think it was 2005. Yeah. 4 and 8, yeah.
From where?
Yeah, 2005 from Our Lady of the Valley from middle school.
Okay.
When I graduated, I think there was only like one white kid.
wow.
So like things changed entirely,
Right.
in like 8-9 years. So from me being the only Mexican to him being the only, like one white kid.
Yeah.
All the teachers were Mexican. Everybody was coming from
Yeah.
Juarez. So it was
And
very
what,
different.
what do you remember about like your childhood in Juarez? What was that like?
That was crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Yeah, Juarez, I mean, for the most part, I mean, up until I was in 8th grade, I didn't like go out. I mean, obviously you're not going out when you're 12 or
Yeah.
13.
Yeah.
And there weren't, all these things that there are now, like social media. So I would do things, like I was travieso for sure, breaking windows, glasses, burning stuff.
Yeah.
When throwing rocks
yeah.
at cars, like anything that you could do, because I mean we didn't have video games, so
Right. Yeah.
whatever you could do. So, I mean that was kind of like, just doing this madre, like little small things here and there. But it wasn't until high school when you start like going out, you start like going to parties and you start drinking or
Yeah.
trying things.
Was Juarez? When did it start like getting like kind of dangerous? Because I feel like it wasn't. It was like maybe like 07, 08, no? Where
It was
like,
08.
Yeah.
It was 07, 08 when it started getting pretty bad, and then it was straight from 08 up until 13.
Yeah.
So it was a solid 5 years of it just getting progressively worse and worse and worse. And
Yeah. I mean, at one point it was the most dangerous city in the world.
yeah, you had a lot of people dying, a lot of people being kidnapped, a lot of carjacking, a lot of violence. I mean, you would have had to be blind to have not seen like dead people, like on a regular basis. It wasn't like, oh, he's hardcore, he's from the hood. No, like you just have eyes, and you live in Juarez, and that's what it is.
Damn.
It's inevitable. Like you're gonna see.
Like yeah, it's not. It doesn't make you
Yeah.
more gangster or least gangster or whatever. Like you just, if you had eyes, you saw it happen because it was happening to everybody.
So
it was happening.
There's situations that happened close to you, like you knew people that maybe haven't gotten kidnapped or even like,
a lot of people.
Wow.
I had a lot of people whose parents died, whose parents were involved. You had some people that you never thought, were friends that you knew in high school that you went over and hung out with that you didn't even know that their parents were in the drug business or, doing some illicit activities. And then from one day to the next, they're in the paper, they got shot, they got, So it was just everything. It was, I guess, it was a pretty, how would you call it? Not eye-opening, I guess.
Yeah.
Eye-opening for everybody.
Yeah.
In every community, there's a lot of communities. Maybe in mine, at least, when I was in Juarez living there was like maybe 50 houses. By the end of 2013, out of those 50 houses, there was maybe 30 widows.
Wow.
Yeah, it was bad. Everybody.
Yeah, I remember
everybody
like
was
yeah.
involved. Everybody was involved. It's the biggest business in the border.
Yeah.
So yeah, everybody was feeling it.
Yeah, and even before that, like I just hear all the stories of Juarez used to be like everybody would just go out over there normally.
It was cool.
They would celebrate things.
It got to the point where you could do whatever you wanted
Yeah.
without having a lot of money. Like there was just, anybody could do whatever they wanted. You can drive drunk. You could drink and drive. You can go to any club. You could go to any bar. You can bribe them if you were speeding. Like it progressively got worse and worse and worse till like society collapsed.
Yeah. Damn, man.
And then it was really, really bad.
Yeah. So where'd you end up going to high school?
So I went to high school. I went to Cathedral. I went to Cathedral for 3 years, and then they asked me politely not to return my last year.
Really?
Yeah.
So were you like your little troublemaker back then, or
Yeah.
what? Yeah.
I mean, I got good grades all the time.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I hear
But
that
I
like all
got-
the boys at Cathedral are like kind of a little crazy to a certain extent, dude.
I mean, there's everything. There's a lot of
Yeah.
people that were like entitled. There's a lot of people that, you
Yeah.
know, because their parents were someone or whatnot,
Yeah.
they would not
Come
care
from
or
money and stuff.
yeah, they would disrespect teachers and whatnot. I didn't. I mean, I didn't come from money, and I didn't disrespect teachers. I just didn't go to school.
Yeah.
So I think I had like 80 something absences in a year.
So it was an attendance issue,
Yeah.
essentially.
Had other things to do.
Yeah, no, I feel that, bro. So at that time, like just growing up, what were you even like? Were you thinking about like what you're gonna do in the future? Like, what you envision yourself doing, or your
No,
passions?
not at all. I was lost. for
Really?
sure. At that time, I just wanted to party, hang out. That's it.
Yeah.
I had no aspirations, no
Damn.
dreams, no passion, no like no tunnel vision, nothing. You know, I was just like living the moment. And
Yeah. So was college an option for you?
no, I didn't even
No.
think about college, to be honest. Like I wasn't even thinking like that far ahead. It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad.
Sure, you had some good times though.
Yeah,
So you got a lot of stories to tell, huh?
Yeah.
ton for sure.
Damn, man.
Yeah, it wasn't until like my senior year where I was transferred over to another school, and that's where my counselor or the principal, which she was both. It was a small private school because I was still a Mexican citizen, so I had a student visa, and I couldn't go to any public school, so I had to go for sure private schools. That's why I went to Cathedral, because there
Right.
was no other school where I could go to
Yeah.
legally, you know, because a lot of people go to school here and they live in Juarez or they're Mexican, but they use their, you know, their tia's address or something like that. I didn't have
Right,
any
right.
family here, so it was I couldn't, and my parents weren't about to risk it all.
Yeah.
So you know, they paid for a private school, which is what you had to do if you wanted to come to school in America. And I was transferred over to another school that already shut down. It's called El Paso Country Day School.
Oh wow.
Small school, graduating class of 10.
Damn.
Yeah, graduating class of 10.
Quite the popular guy, huh?
Right, yeah. Showed up and I was like, man, I think it was like 5 Indian guys, 4 Asian guys,
Holy shit.
a couple white guys, and then another Hispanic friend and myself.
Wow.
And yeah, it was crazy. It was eye opening because I mean I wasn't eye opening right then and there, but it was a good move for me because it kind of like pulled me away from the environment that I was in, and it put me in a different environment for a little bit. And I remember when I was introduced to the principal, because she obviously, like, nobody wants someone in their school that was kicked out of another school.
Yeah.
You know, on the last year.
Yeah, for
Right.
sure.
So like, you know, why do we want him on our last year if they don't want him over there?
Yeah.
So she had an interview with me and gave me like a ton of books, and she's like, you got to read these, you got to do this, you got to write like these essays. And I remember one of the conversations was like, hey Arturo, so are you planning on going to college? Like, what are you planning on doing with your life? Like, she had that that conversation with me, and every Friday I had to go meet with her, like, specifically. So I was like, well, I don't know, you know, be rich, make money, but how?
Yeah.
I don't know, you know, it's gonna happen,
Yeah.
but how? I don't know. And then she's like, have you ever thought about going to college? Yeah, where? I don't know. You know, I was like, no answers. So she started at, like, you know, kind of working with me, and I wasn't very open to being worked with. So a lot of the things that she was saying was just like flying through me, and I was just like, no,
one
I
ear
need
out
to
the
listen.
other.
Yeah, just whatever. Yeah. I just want to leave school so I can go back and do my thing. And then she was asking me, you know, like, what are your plans? Are you planning on going to college? Are you planning on this? Are you planning on that? And do you know how to do it? And no one in my family had gone to college in the U.S. or knew anything about like applications, enrollment, the what is it called, the Common App, scholarships, this, that, whatever. And get this, I was transferred over, and I started school, and we start school towards the end of August. That's when like the last year starts, or the fall semester starts. And whenever we started, I was already late. Like, everybody in my class was already like on their 3rd or 4th SAT or pre-SAT or ACT test. I didn't even know what that was. I missed all of those at Cathedral. Like I had 0 counseling. Like my grades were good in all of the classes. Like I was a straight A student, except when it came to conduct. I was like U and an S and you know, needs improvement students in 5th grade. But that was consistent.
Yeah.
But like
at least it was consistent.
The grades were good. Yeah, the grades academically good. Conduct wise terrible. Like like extremely polar opposites.
Yeah.
So whenever she was asking me these questions, it was more of, you know, trying to help me understand, like, hey, open your eyes. Like it's a process. You can't buy into this. Like no one's gonna help you if you don't decide now. You're not gonna do anything with your life. You're not gonna move out of, you know, where you're at now and progress, or like all your aspirations, all your, like where you think you're going and where you're at now are not aligned. You understand this, Arturo? You know, nah. You know, so it was I'm very thankful for her, for sure. Her name's Dr. Laura Alpern.
Yeah.
And she was very patient with me.
You still keep in contact with her? Or?
Yeah, every now and then we do touch base and talk, and she's been to the restaurant, she's been to the Melting Pot, she's been to Sushitto, she's been really nice. So it was basically, we got back in August, we had that sit down. She explained everything to me that I needed to do as far as like Common App, pre-SAT, SAT, all that stuff. So I had like basically September to study for this test, and then take it in October and take it again in November. And you know how there's deadlines and you have to pay for the exam and you have to wait and so on. I had no idea how any of that worked.
Yeah.
And my parents didn't speak English, so it was hard for them, you know, like to guide me through the Common App and these papers and all this, and write an essay and this and that and all this stuff. And I was like lost. So it was, I remember that I would leave school at 3, go back home. By the time we got to Juarez, it was like 5 or 6.
Because is there always a line?
It was terrible. Like we'd get home at 5, have dinner, whatnot, do homework, read whatever at 6, and then from 6 till midnight, study for this thing, and write and work on my applications, my essays, get letters of recommendation, like get whatever I could for like 2-3 months and apply everywhere. But I couldn't apply everywhere until I took the test, so I was already late.
Yeah.
Like I was already late for like early decision. I was already late for everything. And I applied to a bunch of schools. I applied to some Ivy League schools. I applied to UTEP. I applied to local schools. I applied to schools in Cali. You know, a bunch of different universities. I think I applied to like 12 or 15 schools. And I applied early decision to like 4 or 5, because I think you can only apply to 3 or 4 without it being like too broad. And because it's a little bit more serious, because it's like your first choice. Yeah. So one of those, I mean, I got admitted into several, but there was one that did give me a full ride academically. Wow. At random. It was just like destiny. So like this school called Austin College in Sherman, Texas, north of Dallas. So you have Plano, Allen, McKinney, and then it's Sherman, and then you have like Denison and then Oklahoma. So like top, towards the top. Yeah. North. And this school, full ride. I think because I was an international student and my grades were great.
Private or university?
No, private. Presbyterian Liberal Arts College. So they gave me full ride, and at that point my parents were not about to shell out anything, you know, and they didn't have like ton of money either, but they weren't going to waste it on someone who didn't even want to go to school in high school. You know, so it was a big risk, but they did want me out of here for sure, out of Juarez, because Juarez was at its peak, you know. It was where it was like really bad. So I left right like at the tip of the iceberg.
And you graduated, when was this? You graduated high school when?
I graduated high school 09.
09.
And then I started 09 in the fall in Sherman.
Yeah. And what you major in? Like where you're like, all right, this is when I'm gonna start studying.
So I started with business and finance, and then I did like tax accounting. I didn't like that at all, and financial accounting and all that, and I didn't like that. So I stopped that, and I liked to read. At that point, I was really good at reading. And I was really good at writing essays and doing all those like other non-mathematical things, I guess. Yeah. And it was like just easy. I liked that, so I double majored actually in philosophy or slash ethics and political science.
Okay.
And then then I minored a little bit in econ.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah.
a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was really cool.
And were you at that point, like when you're in college, had you already been like set your head straight, or were you still like kind of like having fun out there and doing your thing? Or
No, I think I got to a place where it was a very not toxic environment. I was taken out of a very, very toxic and just terrible environment, and I was put into a different environment where it was okay to be smart. It was okay to read. It was okay to do well in school. It was okay to ask questions. It was it was very diverse. You had a lot of Indian people, a lot of Asian people. You had a lot of Black people. You had a lot of Hispanic people. You had a lot of everybody. Like, it was a very, very big mix of people, and everybody was very different than like what I was surrounding myself with in Juarez and in El Paso, and it just kind of like progressively changed. And by the time that I was done, that was another person.
Yeah.
For sure.
Wow.
That's crazy.
And immediately after, so you graduate college, and now you don't even like your major, which is very common, like what you study in college. A lot of people don't end up like using that or like going into something like with that field. I mean, you major in philosophy, right?
Yeah.
So
Philosophy.
yeah.
Ethics.
How did the whole like being like just opening restaurants, being a restaurateur and entrepreneur, like how did that come about?
So all of that happened out of the blue.
Yeah.
So I remember that my family farms. So my family farms. My dad's been farming for over 20 plus years. Chili, alfalfa, cotton.
Out in Juarez.
In Casas Grandes, close, far out, like about 2.5 hours out of here. So out that way. And he's been farming. So whenever I graduated, I wanted to go to law school, but I wasn't fully convinced. And I hadn't taken the LSAT, which is the test to go into law school that you need. And I wasn't really convinced. I was already working as a financial advisor or with a financial advisor. I wasn't a financial advisor with Edward Jones at the moment. I had my whole like last 2 years of college. I was interning first and then working with him there. And when graduation time came around, he said, "Hey, Arturo, so like, what's up? Are you trying to stay? You want to keep following this path? What do you want to do? Edward Jones likes your work. You've been working with us for a while. You know how it is." And basically how it is with Edward Jones, and I think you've seen him everywhere.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Edward Jones branches throughout like the U.S. The way it works is you apply or you've been working for them for a while, and you go into this program, and they're in St. Louis, Missouri, and you go to their headquarters, and you compete with about maybe 200, 500 people that are coming from all over the U.S. They put you in a program. They maybe get 500 people, and then they kind of water it down to like, or not water down, but dilute it to like maybe 200. And out of those 200, kind of like a draft, based on how well you perform on all of their tests and all of the certifications and all of those things, they let you pick where you want to go work.
Oh, wow.
So they say, hey, this is the list of people that are retiring within the next 5 to 10 years. And next to them is the $1 million budget or portfolio that they manage. And based on your score, you get first pick at picking where you want to go. And now you just have to wait 5 or 10 years, and then you take over their portfolio and just manage that.
Yeah.
So that's how that works out.
You had mentioned that you weren't really like a numbers guy, like math wasn't really your thing. So how did I didn't do that.
Oh, it was, yeah. So I didn't do that.
Yeah.
I thought about it. I liked it because it was like a little bit of sales and a little bit of, talking to people, and the money would have been good. But it wasn't really something that I was passionate about either. So I always knew I wanted to do, something like I wanted to open up a business or be an entrepreneur and kind of do something on my own or something along those lines. And
was that kind of always like the plan, or when did you essentially like realize that you wanted to be like an entrepreneur?
I guess it was kind of, I was raised by an entrepreneur, so
Right.
it was just in my blood.
It was just kind of embedded.
Yeah, I
in you.
remember when I was in Our Lady of the Valley, I bought my first PlayStation selling tops, trompos.
Yeah.
So like I would buy them at the stores in Juarez for 10, 15 pesos, and I would sell them for $5 or $6 at the school.
Tops, like the things you like.
That was really
spin.
good.
Yeah, those were
I'm
cool.
really
Those were
good.
like, dude, those were fire.
I'm
dude.
really good. Yeah, you get it, you wrap it.
Yeah,
you put the butterfly right here, and you spin it.
Yeah.
And then one of my best friends was like the class bully, so he would step on people's tops.
Classic.
So I started, selling tops, and that's how I bought my first PlayStation. And then after that, marbles, they were like a thing back in elementary too.
No, yeah, marbles were cool.
So my dad had bearings for trucks that he would give to me. So he had like the metal marbles, and those you would like from the bearings. Whenever you open it, it has the little like balls, the golden, the silver or stainless steel balls, and those are like the good ones because they
Yeah.
shatter the rest of them.
Yeah.
So I would sell those, and then just everything,
Yeah.
Damn.
So little by little, there was always something that I was trying to sell, and towards that point, I knew I wanted to do something, and I knew I always had a passion for that. More so selling, I guess.
Yeah.
I read a lot of books about selling, brand placement, and I liked marketing for a while, but it wasn't like my passion. But I did read a lot about marketing, branding, positioning, but more so sales.
Yeah.
So that was always in your head, like no matter what, even if you were looking for a job, the ultimate goal is to be your own boss, essentially.
Yeah. Like I knew that a lot of things weren't gonna be forever.
Right.
So I've done a lot of things. I can weld. I'm a certified welder. I took a course at EPCC when I was probably 16.
Oh, wow.
And
That's young.
And I was like the youngest guy in the class for sure. I took a course there, so I'm certified welder. I know how to weld. I haven't done that in a while. Obviously languages. I also learned a couple languages here.
Yeah.
and
When
there.
did you learn like how to speak all those languages, or where?
So French, I went to France, and my family just sent me over. So my grandparents traveled a lot, and they knew a family, or they met some people in at some point in their lives, that some French people, and that French couple had their kids who were now probably like in their 30s, 40s, who had kids my age when I was 12 or 13. So my parents reached out to them and asked them, hey, is it okay if we send this guy over and he lives with you, and then you send your kid over? And
Wow.
A little exchange program.
so
or
I
something.
just kind of like an exchange, kind of like off the record, not really
Yeah.
structured exchange program. So they sent me to live over there, and I was over there for probably about 12 months.
Wow.
Yeah,
Damn, that must have been.
So it was a cool experience.
And how old were you at the time?
12.
12.
12.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, 12, 13.
Oh, snap.
12, 13. So
Yeah.
it was just pretty crazy. And then I went back like every year. So I went back I was there for a few months, and then came back, and then went back for another like 4 or 5 months, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And then I did the same thing again in Germany as well. I met some friends, and we had some family friends, and then I went over to Germany as well. And
Yeah.
I lived in Germany for a while as well.
Did it start recording again?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you realize like at the time like how beneficial that was for you? Like just because I feel like that's really in my opinion, like traveling could be some of the best things you can do for yourself, just as far as like experiencing different culture and everything like that. So at that age, were you like?
No, at that age, I didn't.
You're just like out there, bro.
I was still the
Did you
same
even wanna
person that
go?
I was. No, I didn't want to go. I remember I would be so upset because I was missing all the like house parties, all the pool parties, everything, and I was like, damn, I gotta go to Germany, man.
Yeah.
I want to go to the house party, or I want to go over here to the farm and
Yeah.
drink and whatnot and all this stuff. So you don't realize that until like way later. There's a lot of things that you don't realize until way later, once you kind of have that mindset change, and then so I was like, so what do I want to do? I'm unemployed. I just graduated. What do I want to do? Everybody wants to go to grad school, and everybody wants to think that you need to have it figured out, but in reality, a lot of people don't even have it figured out yet, like at all. Like it's just kind of like fake it till you make it, and just keep making it, and then at some point now you have a career. you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I decided that I wanted to get an MBA. I thought I wanted a master's in business. And to get an MBA, I didn't want to go to any school specifically. If you're going to spend maybe 1 or 2 years of your life and a substantial amount of money, if you don't get a scholarship, you need to go to a good school.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's not for everybody, and it's hard and it's difficult, but a good school guarantees a good paycheck.
Yeah.
You know, and in a competitive market and economy like we're in, you need to have a good paycheck. You know,
For sure.
it's essential. Everything in life costs money, whether you want to believe it or not. You know, whether you think money is the root of all evil or the secret for happiness. I mean, and that's independent of the fact that, you know,
You need it.
you need the money.
Yeah.
You need the money. And so I wanted to get an MBA, and I wanted to get an MBA at an Ivy League school. And I started searching and going through the incoming class profiles, which is what you need to do if you want to get an MBA at any school. So you just go to the school's website, and then you go through their programs, and then most of them have somewhere where it says class profile. And in the class profile, it shows you who they accept. So they say 99% of our students meet the following criteria. And it starts with age, GPA, score on whatever test it is. If it's law school, it's the LSAT. If it's business school, it's the GMAT, you know, or the MCAT for medical school or whatever it is. So certain score on any of those tests, certain GPA, and then a bunch of accolades, and then like if you've written books and saved lives and, you know, like all your superpowers. But I was, you know, kind of like short on the age. The average incoming age for any of the Ivy League schools that I wanted to go to was 28 to 30. So I was 23. So I still needed 5 years.
Yeah.
I had the GPA. So I did graduate with honors from college against all odds. I remember my graduating, the graduation day, I was sitting there, and there was like some Indian dude next to me who was always killing himself at the library, and I was in a fraternity in college, so the party didn't entirely leave me.
There you go.
To answer your question,
Yeah.
the party didn't entirely leave me, but the grades were always consistent. So I remember that I would show up at some point to the library, which is open 24/7, either not sober at all, but ready to study, like 2
At least
a.m.
you
ready to
made it.
study, trying to cram before the test, get everything going. And this guy would see me, and he'd give me that look, you know, like this dude, you know, because we were partying, we were having fun, we were being rowdy, we were doing events, we were doing everything. Like we had a lot of fun, a lot of cool things that we were doing in the fraternity. And, you know, whenever we sat down on graduation day, I remember I was barely awake that day. I had sunglasses, I was sweating, you know, Dallas heat and humidity, so it's just terrible. I was like in the black gown, I was sweating, I was there, I was front row because my last name starts with an A, so it's like the 10th person to step up or walk, and he was right next to me. So I remember he like opens up, it's like, hey, how you doing? He never talked to me. How you doing, man? He knew how I was doing. He could smell how I was doing. So he's like, how you doing? And then he opens up his diploma, and he's like looking at it, and I look over, and he says, look, you see this? And I look at his diploma, and I'm like, what? And then he says, look, this is so under your seal for your university or any university, under the seal, there's another seal that you get, and it's kind of like those golden seals that they have to stamp on.
Yeah.
You can't like write it on. So it talks whether you're magna cum laude, summa cum laude, or cum laude, which are like the 3 levels of honors. And he's like, you see this? This means that I graduated with honors and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And then he closes it. And then I opened mine, and I had it too.
Oh, shit.
You know? I was like, cool.
Yeah.
I was like, what's up, bro?
Yeah, motherfucker.
Yeah, he was not happy at all.
No.
That's funny.
Because you were right next to him, but you had been
But I
fucking
was
partying and shit.
Yeah, it was bad. Like I would show up to class, I would not show up to class. I mean, by that point, I was always consistent with my grades. I was a teacher assistant for econ my junior year, and I remember the teacher pulled me into the room whenever I applied. You know, I applied for the position, and because I liked the teacher, he was really cool, and I liked econ. So he pulled me into his room and he said, "Hey, Arturo, you know, I really like you. You've been to a lot of my classes. You're a great guy. Your grades are great, but just you're not the role model I need." So when you talk about that, if you're going to be mentoring all these young kids, and I was like, "Yeah, no." At that point, I had a buzz cut and a stud, probably bigger than the one that you had on my left ear. I had pants that were probably like down here. So it was rough, you know. And he's like, "Arturo, I mean, come on, you got to shape up." And I was like, okay, all right, cool. So, you know,
I kind
of got in line, and
no, for sure. Damn.
But yeah. So then going back to that, you know, I was like, you know, want to get an MBA. I needed to get the score, so I studied for about 2 months, took the test, and the score is valid for 5 years. So your GMAT score, or your LSAT score, whatever score you want, is valid for 5 years. So within those 5 years, I would turn 28.
Yeah.
So I would have the score, I would have the GPA, I would have the age, and then I would have the work experience that I didn't have, which was like 5 years. So that was the goal, you know, work 5 years, go back to the farm, work for 5 years, help out my father who's helped me out in life and whatnot, kind of give back to the family because family is always important. And I said, you know, if I'm going to work for somebody, I'd rather work for him than for anybody else. And during that time, I'll satisfy that requirement.
Yeah.
And in that process, I moved out to the farm and I lived in the farm for almost 4 years. I would come back on the weekends every now and then to do laundry and whatnot and just hang out and meet friends. But I was rarely out and about. I didn't know anybody in El Paso, like straight up. I knew no one.
Wow.
No one. Like I cut ties with everybody from Cathedral whenever I got kicked out. And then I cut ties, and half of those people, my friends, were from Juarez, so I didn't hang out with like the white people or like the people the Mexas that lived on this side. I was just like from Juarez. Yeah. Right. So I had no friends. I knew them, they knew me, but we didn't have any sort of relationship. So when I moved to Dallas and I went to college, I cut ties with everyone. And when I came back, I was only here for 2 months, and then I went to the farm for 4 or 5 years. So I just came back and started networking and meeting people, and that's how that happened. Yeah.
Damn. So you literally, to go from like just Dallas and you're kind of living that college life. I mean, granted, you're not living this like high, like just completely
like
high life.
$100. My parents would give me $100 for the month.
$100.
That's it. That's my budget.
See, and that's what I'm saying. Like,
that was the budget for the month.
As a frat boy, there's not much you probably needed to. You know, you probably had all the access in the world, though.
There was a lot of access. I mean, you had to pay your dues, but to pay the dues, and it wasn't that expensive. That's right. You had to pay your dues. That was like kind of like your all you can drink pass. Yeah, if you paid your dues. But every now and then there was like events, and people would ask you for money and whatnot. But all 4 years of college, because I wasn't a U.S. citizen, and obviously I had a Boost Mobile. So that was my first phone, was a Boost Mobile in America. Boost Mobile. I remember I would get texts and calls from people to party or whatnot, and just tests, classmates, whatever it was, whatever text, and then I would usually get it the next day.
What the fuck?
So it was terrible. I was like, hey, party, there's gonna be this badass party, come through. Yeah. And then I would be like, the next day, hey, what time is it? Where is it? Where is it? I was like, bro, it's yesterday. Night, brother. I was like, oh, man.
Yeah.
And then my first credit card was a Marshall's card.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
You ran that shit up?
With a $200 limit.
$200 is crazy.
$200 limit. So I had $300 to be bad all month. Yeah. And that included food. And that included food. So,
yeah. Fuck, dude.
A lot of budgeting for sure.
And then, for you to go, especially at like, 23, to go work on a farm, like after you just got a degree, it's like...
Yeah, I went back to the farm, middle of nowhere, 13,000 people. Like nothing, there's nothing.
How long were your days out there?
Long, from like sun up to sundown. That's how it always is. You wake up at 4 or 5, and then you'd go back to sleep whenever you can't see, because you can't work anymore. So it was over. So the day was over. That's how like the real farm is.
Yeah.
You got to wake up as soon as the sun is up so you can make the most out of your day, because when the sun is down, you cannot work anymore.
Yeah.
And I mean, the farm life is good. It taught me a lot. It was so college as a chapter in my life kind of showed me who I was, you know?
Right.
I wasn't, you know, all that bad conduct that I had been for the last few years. You know, I was kind of lost. And thanks to my mentor, she she helped me and pointed me in the right direction and got me out of here into a different environment where I was able to thrive, where I was able to make friends with different people. When it was not just all conflict and who are you trying to fight this week, or, you know, or like, hey, why you looking at me like that, you know?
You saw a different side of yourself.
Yeah, a different side of yourself, because, and I still remember, because here in Juarez or in El Paso, still, like, you go to anywhere, you see anybody, any size, and it's like, what's up? What are you looking at? You know, like, over there, some big ass dudes.
Yeah.
They would see you, hey, how are you? It's like, what do you mean? Not trying to fight, dude. You know, so it just changed your mindset. It changes your mindset, obviously.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of things. I mean, I read a lot of books. I read a ton of books.
So we weren't on the farm. You were just like reading,
self-growth, self-motivation, this and that. But so college kind of helped me, you know, get back on track, whatever track that was.
Right.
But not the bad track. So it kind of put me back on where I was, showed me who I was, helped me flourish, helped me thrive, opened my eyes, and just make me a little bit more grounded, I guess, and thankful. At that point is where I was a little bit more cognizant of everything that my family had done for me, and how, you know, not how I wasn't or hadn't been as thankful or appreciative of everything. And I was like, you know, wow, because I showed up to college. And it was a big effort, you know. I mean, they were like trusting this guy. If he can't even behave here, what is he gonna go do over there?
Right.
So it was a lot, you know, a lot. So it kind of opened my eyes, and it helped me grow and flourish and thrive. And I was a teacher assistant all of a sudden, you know, from not going to school to being a teacher assistant for economics, for the whole department. Right. I was giving lectures on my own, you know, you know, things like that. So graduated with honors, the whole thing. So it just kind of
180.
Yeah, full 180. And then when I went to the farm, that's where I learned, but that's where I learned how to be disciplined, how to be consistent, how to, you know, how more than anything, those two things, I think, discipline and consistency, and just overcoming, not being comfortable, and making not being comfortable.
Yeah.
Because that's important. And a lot of people, you know, as soon as they feel uncomfortable, quit or shy away or you know, second guess something. And I don't know how that saying goes, but that's what they say, where, you know, diamonds are polished or under pressure, you know.
Diamonds.
Pressure makes diamonds.
Yeah, something like that. But nowadays there's this culture where everybody wants to have it today. Now it's easy. Everybody's rich. Everybody's making it. If you open up social media, you're the only person that's broke in the world.
Yeah.
You're the only one that doesn't have it.
Essentially.
You're the only one. And that's not how it is. You know, I mean, the reality is that there's a lot of people that are making a lot of money, but there's a lot of people that are not. But you're not seeing all those people.
Right.
So you're always living in a reality that's putting you at a disadvantage, emotionally, financially, you know, professionally.
Right.
So it's hard, but the farm, I guess, taught me for 4 or 5 years, you know, hard work and dedication.
Yeah.
That's all it was, you know, and discipline more than anything. You know, I didn't want to wake up at 5 a.m. Fuck that. Who
Yeah,
wants
that's what I
to
was saying. Like, farming is hard. No, it's like
It
it's like
sucks.
super.
It sucks. It's
fucking,
hard.
Yeah, you're outside in the sun all day.
You're in the sun
freaking just
all
working.
day.
Yeah.
You're in the sun all day. You don't have good food. You don't have a gym. You don't have anything. You don't have internet. There wasn't internet. Like, I mean, I had 4G at the time, but you had limited data.
Zero girls.
There's 0 girls. My best friends were all in their 50s. Grown-ass men. 45, 50, 55. It was a town where more than half of the community couldn't even speak or read. Like, a very illiterate, you know, community. It was impoverished community. It was different. I had nothing in common with anyone. So it was just like reading, working, and trying to figure something out, trying to make money, trying to, you know.
Were you like thinking of ideas of things you can do, or it was just like
everything? But
Yeah.
at that point, it was just this. Focus on this, and
That's
a
so
lot
crazy.
and a lot of people are focused on something else. When if you just focus on what you're doing right now, and you're consistent with what you're doing right now, and I mean consistent for a while, because if you think about it from the GMAT or from the MBA perspective, I had a lot of internships and I had done a lot of work. I did roofing for 4 or 5 months, commercial roofing here in El Paso during the summer because I couldn't work. So I worked illegally for a little bit. It was just cash money, and I worked from May to like August, September with a contractor now works for me.
wow.
So he would pay me my $400-$500 a week or whatever it was, which is a lot of money at the time for me, you know, because it was a lot of money. Imagine how many caguamas you can buy with $400.
Yeah.
So I did that for 4 or 5 months, and then I worked at a tortilla shop too, making tostada chips, and it was all cash money, and it was just that, and a lot of things. But whenever I did something, I guess I always try to be the best. Like I always try to do fast, like the fastest, the best, you know, the best work, and I never was a victim in that sense, you know. It's like, it is what it is. Fuck. All right, we're roofing, and you know, you put on your towel because you have to have a long sleeve shirt. You put on a towel, and then you put on your hat.
Yeah.
Because the towel covers you, and it obviously dries up all the sweat because you're up in the roof of all these warehouses right here on Yarborough. I did like 2 or 3 of these.
Wow.
All summer. So it was just 45 degrees Celsius, you know, 110, 112, 100 plus degrees. Consistently, we could only work till 3 because after 3 was way too much. We started at 5, 6 in the morning, and then till 3 p.m.
Yeah.
And that was it. But going back to the farm, it taught me discipline for sure. It taught me discipline, and it, I guess, I've never been someone who's feels entitled, ever, you know, with anyone. I've always been humble in a sense that I can relate with anybody. I can make friends with anybody. I've worked with very, very, very poor people at the farm. I with anybody, like the people that clean the windows at the restaurants. They are not the most well-off people, and they think the world of me, you know. And I've always been like a people person. Like whether you're a billionaire, I can relate, or whether you're the poorest person, I can relate, and we're gonna have a great time. Like with anybody, I've had that, I guess, power to connect with a lot of people, like, regardless of who you are. Like we'll connect, and we'll find some similarity, or I'll find some similarity, and we'll make a connection, and they'll be different.
Right.
You know, so with that, it was, the farm as a whole was an experience in my life, bringing it back to the restaurants and kind of trying to tie in this conversation. And
it sounds like it was like when you see Rocky or like superhero movies, and it's just like one sequence of like you just like putting your head down and just fucking grinding and just working for like, but this was like years and years of that, but it seems like that's what it was for you. Like it was just you like preparing you for like a certain moment.
For life.
Yeah, exactly.
For life. Because there's always moments, you know, and there's always like, you know, you're always like, you can't feel sorry for yourself because you don't have, no one has time for that. Nobody cares.
It's very like, are you familiar with like stoicism?
Yeah.
It sounds like that's a mentality, like you kind of, well, because you mentioned like there's no complaining. It's just like, this is what you got to do, you know? Yeah. It's my duty at the end of the day, you know?
Exercise and discipline.
It is what it is.
No matter how much you hate it, you just do it.
So whenever I was at the farm and I would come back home, I would go to the gym and work out because I could only work out whenever I would come back, I would come back and I would leave Mondays. This was my week when I was at the farm. I would leave my home here in El Paso Monday at 4 a.m. so I can go work out from 4 to 5 or 3:30 because the gym opens at 4. So I would leave my house at 3:30 in the morning with all my clothes, my food for the week, whatever it was, everything ready to go. I would leave my house at 3:30 and I would be at the gym at 4. I would work out from 4 to 5:30 and then I would cross the bridge and drive 2.5 hours so I could be at the farm at 7:30 before the employees showed up, so I could make sure they showed up on time. And I was already there. And so I could only work out Sundays and Mondays, and that's how it was for 4 years.
Damn, bro.
So Sundays whenever I could. Like, I mean, I would get back home on Saturday. So Saturday we closed the office at 3 p.m. 2.5 hour drive. So I'd be here like 5-6 p.m. And then obviously I wanted to go out or party or, you know, whatever I had going on at the time. And then maybe party, maybe not, go out. And then the next day just was like my last day. Like if Sunday I was hungover, that was like, and I didn't work out, I was just going to work out Monday. You know, so it was kind of like that discipline. And there was this guy, he's actually one of my partners now, older gentleman who always saw me there at the gym at 4 every Monday. And at 4 every Monday, you don't see many people.
Yeah.
There's like 5 people.
Right.
Like if you go to any gym.
And what gym were you going to?
I was going to the Backstreet Gym. I still go to the Backstreet Gym.
Shit.
I've been going to Backstreet Gym for 12 years. Yeah.
Wow. I'm going to just change the battery. Y'all keep going.
For sure. So I was at the Backstreet Gym, and I was going there every day, 4 in the morning for like a year.
Yeah.
And I met this guy, and usually when I go to the gym, I put my headphones on, and I don't want to talk to anybody. I just come in, do my thing, and leave, you know? You don't want people distracting you. You don't want people in your business. I got time. It's 1 hour, and I got to get my workout. I'm not here to talk. I'm not here to make friends. Like, I'm just here to work out. So I would go in, work out, occasionally like see the 4 people that we see, but after seeing the same people for a year, it's like, hey, and then the conversation starts. How are you? Good morning. And then the next week, how are you? Good morning, Arturo. Hey, okay, John. Cool. Hey, what's up? Hey, how are you? Hey, so what are you hitting today? All this, all that. And then the conversation starts growing. And then during one of those workouts, one of the older guys that was there, I mean, he's older men, I guess, came up to me and said, hey, Arturo, so what the fuck do you do? And I was like, what do you mean? Oh, well, you're here, and I've seen you here for the last 2 years every day at 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
And you're 24. You're 25 now, or whatever, however old you are. Like, we're like, don't you have a life? Why are you here? And I was like, well, yeah, but I got to do this. I got to do that. Cool. And he's like, hey, so listen, there's one thing that I value a lot in my personal life and in general, and that's discipline. And I see that you have that, and you're consistent, discipline and consistency, and you have both. If you ever do any business in the United States, I'd love to invest with you.
Wow.
Like open wallet. Let me know. So I was like, oh, cool. Thank you very much. Nice to meet you. Cool. Left. Went back to the farm. And at that point, I was at the farm. And one time, and I was at the farm for 4 years. It was good. I mean, it was a long run. I can plant and grow a full crop from start to finish. Almost anything. Both it's full, like production, harvest, nutrition, water, irrigation, like everything. Like I can do it. Like you can give me the bare land, the seed, everything, and I can make it happen.
Can you grow some weed?
Yes, sir. I haven't.
We need
Disclosure.
to dive
We have episode 37.
For real, bro.
But so from start to finish, you know, from seeding to harvest, I can grow whatever. And with that, you got me distracted. You got me distracted.
Jokes or something.
So I had been doing that for a while, and one time I was with my dad, and we were meeting some clients, because so there's a lot in the farm. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to grow. So I focused specifically on the alfalfa sector. I liked sales. I loved sales. I came back. So when I came back, backtracking a little bit of context as far as the farming goes. So I graduated, did all the things that I needed to do, and went straight to the farm. And when I got straight to the farm, I realized that I had interned in a lot of big companies. Like I had interned with multi-million-dollar businesses. So I had seen the systems and the structure that they had in place. I didn't understand it or know it, but I but it had clicked internally. It clicks,
Right.
and I had seen what they have that makes them be successful at a larger scale. So I didn't know what it was, but when I came back to the farm and I realized that my dad, who had grown over the years, you know, same thing, going to the farm, same kind of consistent schedule, all that, he was missing. So he grew and grew and grew and started doing this and doing that, and he had some good years and bad years and good years and bad years, but he didn't have any structure.
Mm-hmm.
So I was overwhelmed with all the structure that I needed to add, and I started focusing on what I thought was the easiest part, which was like the alfalfa. So you have your alfalfa, you have your chili, you have your cotton, you have your different crops. So alfalfa is almost year-round crop. It goes into dormancy in the winter because it can't grow because it's too cold. But starting spring, it flourishes, and then you cut it. It's grass like wheat. It grows, you cut it, you sell it. You cut it every month.
What do they use that alfalfa?
Cows.
Cows.
Cows feed, dairies, milk.
Oh, so that's what hay is?
That's what hay is.
Oh,
Alfalfa
okay.
is the green one. The hay is the dry alfalfa.
Okay.
So alfalfa has the protein content. Hay is just like feed, like cornflakes,
Yeah, like carbs.
like carbs.
Yeah.
Alfalfa has the protein content. Alfalfa is where the money's at. Alfalfa is
The good high
the
quality
good
stuff.
high quality hay. So I realized that my dad had so he had grown into a lot of different areas that he didn't even understand. He wasn't a farmer, he was a banker, and then he started farming. That's a different story, but he started farming and he kind of grew all over the place, didn't really have a structure behind all of it, but he was just growing, and he's a big risk taker, big entrepreneur. So like whatever business you want, like he'll take a lot of risks, like a lot of things. So I saw that he had a lot of middlemen that were brokering his hay. So I decided to get on the truck and Google every dairy in New Mexico and Arizona and visit them personally. So I made my little PDF presentation of who we were, what we had, how much alfalfa we had. I over-exaggerated everything, you know? And went on and personally pretty much kind of like the solar people, you know, door knocked in every dairy in all of New Mexico. So all the farmers know me. And some opened their doors and they're like, sure, the kid from Mexico, I was 24. They're like, no way. So I was 24 and slept in the truck and then woke up and did Roswell, Artesia, New Mexico, Cloudcroft, Santa Fe, everywhere. Like I did 2 weeks. I took 2 weeks off just driving and meeting everybody, staying at Hotel 6 or Motel 8 or whatever it was. Just every day, boom, boom. I had my little chart and visited every dairy in New Mexico, of which I got doors open to about 7 or 8.
Wow.
So at that point, we started selling our own hay directly to these people in dollars. So we started making dollars at that point because we were selling it. Before he was selling it in Mexico.
Right.
Now we're selling it in the U.S. in dollars. And because I lied on how much alfalfa we had, because I knew that a lot of people produced alfalfa in the region, we started buying everybody's alfalfa in the region. So at that point, I was like the alfalfa king for
the Heisenberg of alfalfa.
That's how it was. It just happened. That's
dope,
how it
man.
happened.
That's like a genius plan, though.
From everybody buying him and like shorting him and not paying him because he would give them the load, and then they would maybe pay you, maybe not.
Right.
Maybe 60 days, maybe 90 days, maybe maybe they pay you whatever they want. To like cutting all the middlemen off and everything here in Las Cruces, all the dairies on the way to Las Cruces, they all know me, all of them. All the owners, they've consolidated now, but I sell to all of them. We still sell to all of them in Las Cruces, New Mexico, everywhere, Arizona. And then at that point, I had met some friends from Torreon, and that's where like the dairy heaven is for Mexico. That's like the mecca of dairy in Mexico. Lala's there, Chichota, all the big dairies, all the big billionaires are there. So I had some friends. They invited me to a wedding. I met some people there and we connected, and they're like, oh, we are farmers, or we're the owners of these people. And I was like, oh, cool, whatever, cool, all that. So I talked to them about that a little bit. They're like, sure, send us some hay. And now we were selling it when the price was right there and when the price wasn't right in Mexico. And it was funny because I saw some trailers in Mexico. You can have double trailers. So the trailers have two beds. and they would always pass by the farm town empty. So I stopped the driver and I asked him what company he worked for, because it was a big fleet of traders, and they were always passing by empty. And I asked them where they were going, and they were going straight to that town, to Torreon. So I figured out who his boss was. Like, hey, give me like here's $50, $20. Give me the contact to the person that manages like your radio operator. And then he gave me her number, and the chick answered. I called her and we kind of built this relationship. And then she gave me her boss's number, and then I flew straight to Torreon to meet with him. And I said, hey, so these guys would move steel from Torreon to Tijuana for export to Asia, but they would come back empty. So I said, hey, how about you send me all your trucks back? We put them in my farm, we load them, and we send them to Torreon. And he's like, Arturo, we have like 36 trucks a week. And I was like, perfect. Perfect. So we started selling in the U.S. We started selling here. It was crazy. So
do you have to have like a certain permits to like be able to sell in the U.S. or?
You have to have a company, importer's permits. Yeah, you have to have a lot of documentation and permitting and whatnot. So we were selling everywhere at that point. Like I focused in that one area, because if you don't focus in one area, you're never going to, there's so many details and so many things that you want to
Who was helping you along all, like this route, like with, like just and just like finding out all this information to like make everything possible?
Just me,
just research, just doing your own research.
Just me, yeah. Just research, googling this, that, like searching, and trying to figure out like how to make money.
Yeah.
How to make money, how to do something. So there was a point where, when I was there at the farm, that we were literally almost buying all the hay in Chihuahua, like at least the northern part, and selling it all.
So you're growing it yourself?
We were growing it, we were selling it, we were like the hay dealers. Like we were growing you were buying years. We were giving people, at that point, my dad started financing people. So he would buy seed, he would sell it to you or finance it, and you would pay us with your crop, and making people that didn't grow alfalfa start growing. So the whole like town became an alfalfa town. Right. And we started selling a bunch of alfalfa. So backtracking it to maybe almost towards the end of my like farming career, we were sitting in Torreon. It was like we were collecting checks and meeting up with vendors or our buyers and customers, and just meet and greet and all of that. And I remember that we were sitting there it's a bunch of things at that point, because we were sitting. The coolest thing was, one of the coolest things was like we were there, and he's like, hey, so I know you're not happy, because I wasn't. I was 24, 23, 25, and all of my friends were in their 50s. It was 13,000 people in the town. It wasn't really something that I was like loving, and it's definitely a hard business. It's a hard life. It's a struggle. It sucks. We went to a sushi restaurant called Sushitto in Torreon, and he's like, how about we take this to Juarez? And at that point, I was like, no, why Juarez?
Why that restaurant? Were you guys always going there?
Sushitto is Mexico's largest franchise.
Oh, shit.
And there's about 150 locations across Mexico. But it's more of a Chipotle-style restaurant. It's a fast food, fast casual restaurant. So in the restaurant business, you got your fast food, then you have your fast casual. So like McDonald's is fast food, Chipotle is fast casual. It's fast. It's a little bit nicer, but it's casual. You go and you sit down there.
Yeah.
I haven't sat down in McDonald's in years, but I have picked it up in the window.
Yeah.
So that's fast food. Right. The one is fast casual. Then you have your casual, like your Olive Gardens and Red Lobster. That's casual. And then you have your polished casual, which is nicer restaurant, maybe like the Melting Pot.
Grimaldi's,
Melting Pot, P.F. Chang's, polished casual.
Basically, all those fountains, Kona,
Kona, and then you have fine dining.
Yeah,
that's kind of how that's broken
down. Yeah,
how that scale works. So he's like, hey, how about we take this back to Juarez and we open that up? And I was like, no, like we've like with the violence, with the experience that we've had, I don't want to have, because we had to move over here because it was bad. Mm-hmm. So when I came back from college, my family was living here because it was bad. Nobody was living in Juarez. It was bad. So I was like, we've been running away from Mexico, from the violence, from the instability, from the lack of, authority, and now you want us to root ourselves there again?
Right.
I said, no, let's open it in the U.S. And it was like, well, I don't think they're going to let you do it. Watch. So I Googled, same thing. Googled, called this, that, boom, met. And we signed an agreement. I went down to their office. I door knocked again. I said, hey, I want to open this in the U.S. They're like, no, we're not ready. And you're like 26, 27, bro. Like, come on. You first need to come train. You need to do this. You need to do all these requirements, and then maybe. So I did all the requirements, trained there for 3-4 months, did kitchen, did everything, all of that. And then I was supposed to open that up in 2018. But the location where we wanted to open wasn't developed, and it still hasn't been developed. So we were originally going to open next to the Alamo Draft House on Mesa, across Montecillo, across Malalam.
Yeah.
There. And then it never happened. So then that project kind of got paused. And in the meantime, I still wanted to do something. So I looked into their concepts. We looked into their brands. And because I had never ran or opened a restaurant in my life, you want something that has like a proven success record. So, and backed by some sort of support system, which is a franchise. That's what it is at the end of the day. The franchise is a support system for you to kind of mitigate the risk of such an investment. And that was the first concept, because the melting pot, because Sushitto, I wanted to open Sushitto, but I didn't want to open it anywhere. It had to be a good location. Location is key. Location is everything. But there's a bunch of sushi places everywhere. We wanted to open in Las Palmas, but you had sushi place. We wanted to open up at the Fountains, and then you had Kona. We wanted to open up in different areas of town, but there's all these exclusives and restrictions from other like sushi restaurants that we couldn't open Sushitto. So we just I let it sit there. We opened up the melting pot, which didn't compete with anything at the Fountains. And then,
what was it about restaurants that like you wanted to invest in? Because your dad initially, he said, like, whose idea was it to go into the restaurant business?
So he said, how about Sushitto? Because I wanted to do something,
You wanted
we
to
always
do
want to do something. We always do want a franchise. I like food. I like the people business.
Yeah.
And it was like, let's do this. And I was like, okay, but no, not in Mexico. Let's do it in America.
Yeah.
And then, kind of the melting pot happened. And then afterwards, Sushitto happened, which is another different and interesting story. But back to when we were in Torreon, it was a cool experience, because after that, we talked about it. We're like, cool. And then we went to the Porsche dealership, and we just like stopped by, and then we were looking at the cars, looking at everything, and I was like, cool, like it was nice, like those like nice ass cars that you had your Cayman, you had your 911s, you had your Cayennes, you had everything. And we were looking at them, and I had a Windstar. I had a Windstar from when I was 15 till when I was like 23. So I had like a mama van. It was a white 1995 Windstar.
Damn.
That was my first car, and like my car for a long time. And then I had a Jetta after that. But we went there, and
So you guys were doing very well at this point.
with the alfalfa, I was killing it. Like I had opened like 2 markets. Like we were buying all the hay. Like we didn't have enough hay to supply the 2 dairy markets on both sides. And we were like, at this point, like if the price dropped, we can buy here. If the price increased, we can buy here. Like we were doing everything.
You're just essentially reselling alfalfa?
We were reselling. We didn't even have that much alfalfa to sell. Like that, we weren't producing that much alfalfa.
So you buy for cheaper somewhere. And
Cheaper.
You were
able
buying it wholesale, essentially. No?
Yeah, and the freight was cheap, because I was getting I was getting trucks that were riding empty.
Yeah.
Right.
So like I was doing
You're
them
doing
a favor.
them a favor, yeah.
I was doing them a favor.
Getting them extra money.
So I had huge margins, and whenever we went to the Porsche dealership, he's like, hey, like this and that, cool. So I got in the car. I was like, oh, you like it? It's like, cool, yeah. Like this one, yeah, cool. But like any car, I had always gone with him to like different dealerships, but never gotten anything.
Yeah.
Like he would just go look at cars. Let's go to the Mercedes, or let's go to the whatever, or let's go to this, or let's go to that, and like Tundras, let's go to like any trucks. So it was like this badass red car, 718 Cayman S, and like turn it on, and he asked for the keys, and they let me borrow the keys, and then we turn it on, and as soon as he turned it on, I was like, and I'm like, oh shit, and I start revving it and whatever. Then he's like, you like it? It's like, yeah, cool, well, that's yours. It was a tax deduction, man. At that point, it was a
the
business expense.
fuck,
You know, it was like I was killing it as a bonus. Like it was like
bro.
I had been killing it. Is either give the money to the government or get you a car.
Yeah.
You know, so that's how that car happened. I was like, it's a
So
bonus.
that was your first. So essentially, one of your first cars was just like a fucking.
Yeah, I was
exotic car,
dreaming of getting like an R8. My personal goal was to get an R8 by 28, and I had a 718 by 24.
Holy shit! Bro. Damn, bro.
I had the first Porsche, probably one of the first ones. I mean, that I saw here in El Paso back in that time, because
Wow.
it was before the dealership was here. Because now there's a ton.
You got it in
everywhere.
Mexico?
Yeah, I got it in Mexico.
So you bring that shit to El Paso, and bro, what do you feel?
It had Mexican plates. It still has Mexican plates.
Damn, bro.
It had Mexican plates. I was 24.
You're pulling up to Cincy and that shit,
everywhere.
or what?
Cincy and that thing everywhere. I was pulling up everywhere.
Fuck, dude.
It was cool. It was cool. It was a good experience. And then after that, well, going back into the Sushitto part, you know, but like it's like so that was like a thank you, you know. It would have been way more taxes that we would have had to pay if I would have gotten a cash bonus, or if we would have just like kept the profit. So it was an expense. You know, you've seen Grant Cardone say buy a Land Rover as a cash deduction.
Yeah, the big ones, the
big
G-Wagon.
ones, they're deductible because of the weight and the size and this and that. Same thing, you know.
Yeah.
Same thing in Mexico. That's how it was. So that was kind of like the thank you for cutting all the middlemen for so many years, and not only cutting the middlemen, but taking over the full hay market
Right.
in the area. So that was nice. And then after that, Sushitto was more of a brand development. So at that point, I was done with the melting pot for a while, and I remember how that happened. So Sushitto was also a very fun and interesting story, because I had been hiding and not answering my calls because we were supposed to open in 2018, and Sushitto announced, it's a big franchise. It's a big franchise. They announced nationally in public radio, newspapers, that they were going to expand into the United States, and that I was driving the brand into America, and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And then the location falls through, and the project falls through. And I, opened up the melting pot. It's a big challenge.
Yeah. Where did you first have try the melting pot?
I never did. I never did. We just thought it was,
wow.
We thought it was a cool concept. It was something different, something unique, and experience-based restaurant.
And that's when the fountains had already been
for like 3-4 years.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because that was a little bit later. Damn.
So at that point, it was like, I remember I had 5 managers at Melting Pot when we opened, and I fired all 5 of them almost.
Wow.
Kept 1. And it was just 1 and me for like the rush season. So we opened in September, and then one of them quits. So we opened in September 2018. One of them quits. It's 5 of us, because the plan was to open like Sushitto within like 6 months. So we overstaffed. So we had a team ready to open 2 restaurants, and I brought like good managers from like award-winning managers from Red Lobster, from this and that, blah blah blah. So good, solid people with a lot of experience, way older than me, to show me, to help us, to take care of the project, the investment and whatnot. And by that point, I knew how to work. Like I'll wake up early, I'll stay up late, and I'll still wake up early. I still do every day. Like I'll text my staff to this day before or after they're asleep, and I'll answer to my message before they wake up.
Yeah.
And they're all like, fuck, this dude's crazy. Like, it's crazy. Like, stop. Like, they talk amongst themselves. I've seen some of the texts that they send each other, like, this fool, what the fuck? Does he sleep? What the fuck?
Yeah.
And I already worked out. So at that point, it was like, the first one quit in September. The second one I fired in October. The third one I fired in November. And I didn't know that it was like the peak of the season. I did know, but I didn't know how bad it was. So I was pulling like 100+ hour weeks.
Dude.
Consistently. Like, it was like December, and it was from 5 we were 2.
So you're essentially GMing
I was GMing the restaurant for like
shit.
December, January, February, everything. And then I just GM'd it for like 4 years, 4 or 5 years, until I kind of let it go. And then I remember that I have a good friend who's a realtor, commercial, and more commercial than anything. he had always in the loop with what's happening, what's new in town. And he's like, hey, Arturo, they're building this new tower downtown, West Star Tower. We think it would be a good fit for Sushitto, blah, 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 because you're looking for a different spot, something nice, this and that. I was like, yeah, cool. Let's do it. So we send them our info, the proposal, and they responded. This was like 2020, I believe, maybe before, a little bit after COVID. We sent them the proposal, and they're like, no, we're not interested. There's a lot of candidates right now. You know, there's a lot of people interested. We're evaluating candidates. We'll let you know if we're interested. Thank you very much. So at that point, I was already 2018, 19, 20, 21, hiding from the brand. Like, the brand was calling me. Sushitto was calling me and emailing me, hey, Arturo, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, you let us out to dry, man. We made a public announcement. You embarrassed us. Are you going to open? What's going to happen? Like, answer my calls, answer my emails. I was just like, first of all, I was like pulling 100+ hour weeks of work every week. So I had no time for that. Like, I was just focused on surviving and running the business, surviving. And then fast forward to when we sent this out, we get shut down. So I'm like, okay, Sushitto's not going to happen. Because I signed the agreement for Sushitto in 2016.
Damn. Okay.
And we were supposed to open 2017. And we ended up opening 2022.
6
or
years.
2023 was 24. So 2022. 2022, 6 years. Overnight success, 6 years, right?
Wow, bro.
So 2021, after COVID, I'm driving and they call me and they're like, hey, Arturo, you still got that Japanese concept that you talked to us about? And I was like, who's this? And I'm like, oh, it's this realtor for West Star Tower, the main guy who's representing him. And I was like, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I do got it. I had a bunch of texts that I hadn't opened. And I was like, yeah, for sure, I have it. Yeah, what's up? Okay, well, we're looking to make a decision soon, and we're wanting to see if you can give us a pitch. For sure. When? Today. We have a meeting, a couple hours at the office. Can you come? Yeah, I'm on my way. So I was on my way to Melting Pot, and I turn around, and I swing by, and I stop by their office, and I walk into a kind of board meeting, and I present a concept that was not Sushitto at all. Like, I had made Sushitto fine dining in my head. And Sushitto in Mexico is like Chipotle. That's why there's 150 locations. It's fast casual.
Right.
Like, you would probably not go on a date to Sushitto in Juarez.
Yeah.
You'd order it for home, like takeout.
Okay, yeah. So this is where it comes to, because I'm like, bro, Sushitto's not fast casual, like, from what I understand. I haven't been there.
If you go to Sushitto in Mexico, it's white. If you Google it or Instagram it, it's terrible. It's like any other,
Yeah.
It's pretty white plates, no decor, chopsticks and paper bags. Like, it's just not there. Like, it's not where you're gonna take any girl at all.
Yeah.
So I sell them because obviously it's the West Star people.
Yeah. Is that Hunt?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I sell them this badass concept of what Sushitto in my head was, Like, Sushitto is this, we're gonna have this, we're gonna have omakase, we're gonna have blah blah blah, all this stuff. And after like years of sales, I like, they fell for it. I fell for it. So at that point, I walk out there like, cool, let's do it. We like it. I showed him pictures of other Japanese restaurants that I had been to. He like, Nobu, this, that, blah blah blah. Like a lot of different inspo. I'm like, this is what it's gonna look like. And that's not, I didn't have permission from the brand to make it look like that. So I call them and I'm like, hey, I love you. You still love me? Sorry, I'm back.
Sorry, it's been 6 years.
Sorry, it's been 6 years, but I've been thinking about you.
Yeah.
Tell your mom I say hi. I miss the dogs. So, so I call them and they're like, "Yeah, so are you serious? You're not serious, Arturo? You know what? Not." I fly back to Mexico. We got time?
Yeah, hell yeah.
I fly back to Mexico and I meet with them all in person. I have to show face, and it's like.
Yeah.
It's like,
where have you been?
So I'm like, hey, I'm sorry. Like I made everybody look bad. I made like the franchise director look bad. I made the brand look bad. I made a bunch of people look bad. I made everybody, because I didn't deliver because it didn't happen. So,
and did they make you feel that?
So
they like?
So I mean, and we had dinner. We ate. At the end of the day, it's business.
Yeah.
They got over it. I apologized. I told him, hey, I was going through a lot of work. I was going through this. So I wanted a badass location. We didn't have it. And it's an investment on my end, not necessarily on your end. So just understand that I was making the best decision for the brand and for myself. And it's nothing personal against you. I'm sorry that I should have communicated it or that. And I'm sorry that I didn't. But I'm here now, and I apologize, and I'm here to make it work. However, we got to make this a little bit different. Because I sold something that, we don't have. And because Sushitto does not operate in the United States, they don't have the right to franchise. To be able to franchise, you have to have, I believe it's like 5 locations or 3 locations at least, with at least 5 years of experience operating, or a track record, so you can prove an average of a return on investment result.
Right.
Because it's an investment at the end of the day, like the stock market or like anything. It's an investment. And if you have one good location, that doesn't mean that if you open a second one, it's going to be exactly as successful. So you have to have at least, I think, 3 locations operating for 5 years, so you can have a good track record that you could quantify, compare, and pull an average from. And I can say, hey, if you give me X amount of money, I can give you this % of return on average.
Right.
Some locations are doing this good, some locations are not, but on average, this is kind of what the brand is doing. They don't have that here. So they couldn't franchise. And what I told them was like, let's just let me run it. At that point, I already knew. I already had experience. I like, there's nothing you can teach me about the restaurant business. I mean, there's always something you can learn, something new. But as far as the day-to-day operations, I had been living it for 5-6 years. I had done everything, everything. So I told them, let's switch it up. I have this idea for design. I have this idea for, this is the vision. This is kind of what I want to do. Let's do a brand development. And so they're like, okay, cool. And at that point, Sushitto as a company was being bought. Like the original owner had passed away, and he left it to his wife, and she sold it, and it went public, and a bunch of things. And they were in the middle of a merger, acquisition. So nobody really knew what I had discussed with the previous people, because they were gone.
Right.
And it was like a new business that owned it. So there was a lot of leeway for me to say and whatever I wanted to say, kind of like with the alfalfa. So I was like, this is what I had agreed on this, and I had agreed on that. And everybody's like, well, they had fired, and they weren't on good terms with the people they had fired. So nobody couldn't really call back and ask for a reference check.
Right.
And it was more of like, this is what we're going to do.
Kind of set your own standards.
This is what we're going to do, and I have free reign on everything. And they're like, okay.
So it's essentially you're just using the brand itself.
Yeah. They gave me some of the recipe. They gave me all the recipes.
Yeah.
They gave me a couple, but mainly my systems, my standards, and the vision more than anything.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's why here it's a little bit more polished, casual. Than what it is over there. And we just changed decor, plating, everything, drinks, cocktails, everything.
Yeah, and it's more. So there's still sushi, and
there's steaks,
like wagyu. Or
we have wagyu. Yeah, we have A5. We have the world's best wagyu.
Wow.
This year.
Ooh.
Certificate of authenticity included. Everything, it's like butter.
Yeah.
If you cook it medium rare, you can cut it with a fork. It's that tender.
Wow.
It's just like butter. So that one's really, really good. If you haven't tried it, you got to try it. A5 wagyu. We have the wagyu experience. So that's pretty cool.
And are you coming up with these recipes, or you just people for that?
I mean, I've researched a lot. There's a lot of ideas. I mean, like with everything, you have to make sure. I failed a lot. I've had a lot of bad ideas, terrible ideas. Hey, this is gonna be great. It's not, or people don't like it. But you can't let that stop you.
Right.
You can't. Like a lot of things that I like my favorite dessert was not the most popular one, so it's off the menu. My favorite appetizer, things like that, that I thought were going to be great are not. So you just have to consistently be, adding and reinventing. The only constant is change. And if you stop changing and adapting, that's when you become stagnant, and that's when you lose and you fall off. But if you're always innovating, and if you're always, you have to be able to adapt.
Right.
That's a secret.
Is there a balance between adapting and innovating and evolving, and then still keeping I guess the Because if I feel like sometimes people change certain things and they're like, oh damn, I kind of missed that about something. Is that like a balancing act, or are you just always coming up with something?
No,
new?
you do have to have a period of like a pause. You got to pause it, and you have to have data. Like you need numbers. At the end of the day, I'm not a numbers guy, but you do have to rely on numbers to make any decision. You know, kind of like a hypothesis.
Because I can relate to that. So not being like the biggest numbers guy, how do you succeed in like in business? Because like you obviously still have to know these things, but it's not necessarily like you're like, it doesn't, because some people are intrigued by numbers and they love it, like and it comes easy to them. So from someone that essentially runs these like businesses, like what is something that, for example, someone like me can put in place to kind of just help be successful?
I think that like the most important thing is you have to be disciplined.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be disciplined. You have to be disciplined. And then you have to be consistent. You have to be consistent, because if you're not consistent, you can't judge anything. If you're always doing different things or acting differently, or, and if you're not consistent, you really can't quantify anything. You can't quantify inconsistency other than with inconsistency. Like inconsistency is inconsistent, but consistency you can quantify. If you do so, for example, I've weighed the same since I graduated college to today, 10 years ago. For 10 years, I've weighed the same, regardless of what I've done. Whether I was at the farm working out 2 days a week, or whether I'm here working out 5-6 days a week, I've been consistent. Like I've weighed the same, regardless of whether I worked 100 hours or whether I worked 40 or 50 or 60 or whatever. Like you have to be consistent. Like at most I vary 5 pounds. Like I'm between 155 and 165. Like back and forth, but not more. But usually when I say I weigh the same thing, I'm 155 every year. Like I weigh myself and I have it on my phone, and every year, like randomly, I'll weigh myself and put a little note, like without boxers, or after dinner Saturday, or before breakfast Monday, whatever it is, and it's always 155, 155, 155, 155. And it starts with you. You have to be consistent. You have to be consistent in your own life, in your own decisions. And if you are consistent, and sometimes consistency is boring, because you eat the same thing, you do the same thing, you have the same habits. But if you have the same habits, you're able to fine tune what's off with your formula, with your personal formula. Same thing with a diet. If you eat the same thing, like if you're trying to get big, or if you're trying to cut up, whatever you want to do, and you have your set diet, and you eat the same thing, don't get a different menu, just eat the same thing. 5 eggs for breakfast every day, a salad at noon, a protein shake, and then a steak at night, or whatever you want, but exactly the same thing. And if you do that consistently for 3, 4, 5 months and you're not growing, it's not the food, it's something else. Maybe it's your workout. So, maybe it's the routine, maybe it's the sets, maybe it's the weight, maybe it's the sleep. But the more consistent you are with a lot of aspects in your life, the better you'll be at fine tuning what's off.
It's easier to find what's messed up about what you're doing, right? When you're consistent.
Yeah. Like the issue's gonna pop up.
It's gonna stand out a lot clearer.
Yeah.
Like if you're sleeping the 8 hours because you want to grow muscle, for example, or you want to whatever you want to do, you're sleeping the 8 hours. Your nutrition some point, your workout some point, but you're still not getting results. Maybe you have to supplement. Maybe increase something. But maybe it's the weight. I don't know. But if you're consistent, you're able to see where you're going.
Yeah.
And there's not all these variables. Like, maybe I'm not sleeping. Maybe it's because I'm not drinking water. Maybe it's because I'm not taking my protein. Maybe it's because I'm not taking creatine. Maybe it's not because,
Take it out the equation.
Like fine tune it. Make it exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Like I've had times where I'm on Instagram and I'll check like what you did last year, and I'm eating the same thing that I'm eating at the same time that I'm checking.
Yeah.
It's like, just the same thing.
Yeah.
Like when I go to the melting pot, there's a buffalo chicken Caesar salad that I love. It's bomb.
I still haven't been there, bro. I need to go.
It's really good. Go get that salad.
Yeah.
Robert loves that salad.
Rob,
At the melting
Robert
pot?
loves, yeah. Go have it. Yeah. It's a bomb salad. It's a Caesar salad,
tell me how close.
and it's a buffalo chicken breast Caesar
Yeah.
salad that I have, and and it's the only thing that I have there. It's the only thing that I have.
Wow.
Like when I go to Sushitto and I'm hungry, like the sushi chefs know what I want. Like it's just, can I get my rolls? The same thing.
Are you big on like your just like your routine and what you like is what you like? Like you don't like trying new stuff?
No, I'll try a lot of different things.
Okay.
Like I'll try, like if we go out tomorrow, we'll try things. Like I'm cool, but like on my day to day, it's
Yeah,
the
it's
same
the
thing.
same.
It's the same thing.
I'm the same, bro. People get on me because I eat oatmeal and egg. Like oatmeal is a standard for me. Like but I just love it, bro. Like I feel like it's just I'm so used to it, and I don't know, it's just good. But anyways, like how about when it comes to like just leading people and managing? What are some things that you've learned over the years as far as just just leading other individuals? You know.
There's a lot of books. I mean, I usually always give my management team one book.
Mm-hmm.
Like if there's one book for consistency and for growth, in any business or any industry, it's a book called Built to Last.
Yes.
Jim Collins. They also have
Good to Great. Is that the
from good to great, and
Yeah.
then they have Built to Last.
Yeah.
And Built to Last is a book that focuses on huge Fortune 500 companies and how they've performed over the last, I think it's 60, 70 years now from when they wrote it. And it shows why some companies weren't successful and why some were not. One of the most successful companies in the world is 3M. They don't just do tape, but 3M is good, you know. It talks about Apple. It talks about, Columbia. It talks about a lot of big companies that have outperformed their competition when they both started exactly at the same. And it comes back to culture. Like if there's something like a key word for success, it's culture. And it's your organizational culture that dictates your success, because at the end of the day you depend on others. Right. I think it's LBJ, and if you go to Austin, UT Austin, and you go to their library, the Lyndon B. Johnson library, there's this big quote that I took a picture of that says, that there's very little that we can do alone, and there's very little that we can't do together. And at the end of the day, your success is going to depend on your team. You only have a certain amount of time in your day. You have to build a team, and you have to build a culture, and you have to have your values. And if you don't have values or a mission, vision, and I guess principles or values, that's another book by Ray Dalio. So one of the best books that I recommend for like organizational structure is Built to Last. Whatever you're doing, just if it's just you, read it, because it's important. Your culture dictates everything, and your culture starts with having your mission and your vision and your values, and being able to teach that to your team and having them be able to live by it every day and expect it from others is what's going to make you successful. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to be the GM forever. I don't want to be the area director forever. I don't want to be the CEO forever. I would like you to be the CEO so I could take some time off, so I don't have to answer calls every day. So I don't have to, so I can take a break. But to get to that point, and as you're growing, you need to develop people. Like your team is your most powerful asset, but your team needs to be guided by your culture. And there's a lot of people that miss that entirely. And there's a lot of people that are too busy building their brand and their business that they forget that the foundation for a successful business is your culture. Like how you treat your employees, how you onboard people, how you fire people, how you communicate, what your standards are, all those things.
Right.
All those things are key.
Yeah.
All those things are super important. And a lot of people are like, I don't have time to go over my mission. Like even for your podcast, at the end of the day, it's a business. Or if you're moving into a business, like what are your values? What's your vision? If you don't know what your vision is, you're not going to be successful. Like, where do you see yourself? Because if you don't have a defined vision, you're never going to get there. Kind of like when I was in high school, you know?
Yeah.
If you don't have a defined vision, you're not going to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have your mission, which is the how, you know? So the mission is what we do, like what you live to do every day. And the vision is kind of like your goal. And then your values are how you make those things happen. You're never going to be able to really excel, or at least have structure and stability.
Can you make someone or ensure that someone's just as passionate as you are for your businesses and like work just as hard as you, or do you have to find those people, or can you like?
No, you have to. You definitely. I mean, there's another book. There's a lot of books that I've read about organizational structure, like leading and business development and personal growth, that talks about Disney, the Disney way. Disney does not find, and neither, for example, Starbucks, on that same matter, all their employees are the same. Can you agree? You go to Starbucks and you get some hippie ass dude or some tatted ass girl with gauges who's on a great mood every day and so happy to see you through the drive-thru. Mm-hmm. That's how it is. It's the same like profile. Yeah. You know, it's the same people. They don't make them; they attract them because their culture attracts them.
Yeah.
And not all of those people are going to be passionate and wanting to be there, but while they're there, they can embody your culture and your values. Because they sympathize with what you mean, so you have to tell them, hey, this is who I am. This is what I mean. This is where we're going, and if you stick with me, and you help me get us there, our lives will improve. Because it doesn't depend on me at the end of the day, like it doesn't. It depends on you. You are going to allow me to give you a raise because you're allowing me to help us grow. Not because I want to. Like you help me. You give me stability. You help me grow. You help me drive the business. You help me hit the results. You help me hit the targets, and I'll take care of you. That's for sure. Almost everyone in my team right now has been people that started from the bottom. I've hired all the managers with experience, all the older crowd, and I've just developed a team. And that's taken 6-7 years now. And it didn't happen overnight. You know, like I said, I worked 100+ hours a week for a lot of times. I had no days off. I had no holidays. I slept at the restaurant. I, tried to multitask and everything. And at the end of the day, it took time. It took time because you're looking for answers outside when the answers are within you. And obviously your culture and your values have to be something that people sympathize with, Right. And something that people resonate with. And it's something that from the beginning in any interview I ask, I always ask, like I drafted my own interview questions to kind of filter out who's really going to be in line with the team. And not everybody's going to be in line. You have some certain positions and you have certain people that don't want that for the long run, but at least you're telling them what you expect. Mm-hmm. Like, this is what I expect. I expect respect. Like, we're a family, Right. We treat everybody with respect. We're a family. We have integrity. We value honesty. And we value discipline. And we value attitude. So attitude is something that's very important. And you have to find the people that have that attitude. So when I was in the farm, one of the biggest and best lessons that I've learned from my father was, how do you quantify the value or the worth of a person? How much are you worth? How much am I worth? How much are you worth? And not financially, but as a person. And it's a simple equation. It's in parentheses for those non-math people. Right? So it's first you have, and it's I'll translate it, but I have it here too on my notes, and it's C plus H right there. You can see it. So C. So in parentheses, you have a C, and that's conocimiento or knowledge or experience, plus H, which is habilidad or skill. So your knowledge plus your skill. So let's say your knowledge is 0, but your skill is 10. So that's a 10. C plus H is 10. Times, outside the parentheses, A.
Attitude.
Exactly. If an attitude is 1 or 0. The other two could be 1 from 0 to 10. You can have 5 and 2, 7. But attitude is 1 or 0. So even if you have great skill and you have great experience and knowledge, and in both are 10, you have a 20. If you multiply that by a 0, you're worthless. I don't need you.
Damn.
You have 0 value.
Yeah.
And attitude is everything.
Yeah.
Attitude is everything in life. And that's like your attitude, your mindset.
100%.
It starts with you. It's your attitude every day to everything.
Yeah.
And that's how you find those people. And they'll show you if they have a consistent attitude. If they're people that want to get ahead. Because everybody's hungry. But, not everybody wants to lose some sleep. Like some people rather sleep than make money. Or not be comfortable.
Yeah.
And some people are just uncomfortable for a little bit. Fuck it, I don't get paid enough for this. I don't do this, I don't do that. When if they would have pushed through it, they would have made it. You're like, damn, this dude pushed it through. This guy's great. Like, you see those things, and things take time.
Yeah.
But people want to be rewarded because the dishwasher quit one day and they took the job. My dishwasher quit and I hopped in the dish pit and I knocked it out and now I deserve $1 million. No, bro, you did your job. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How much do you how much do you notice? You notice everything?
Yeah.
Every little thing?
Everyone all the time.
Yeah.
Like everything, like details all the time. Like I walk in.
Even when people think you're not watching, noticing you're watching. Yeah.
You see it, and I try to take care of the people that have been taking care of me. But it takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. But going back to these like big companies, they don't find people that have everything. They build people. But they build people that they attract people that align with their culture, and then they pick the ones that have the best attitude. Because you might like, I don't know, a brand. You might like Southwest. For example, Southwest is a pretty good brand. Everybody's happy. Bags fly free. It's a great company. It's one of the best airlines, if you ask me. Great hospitality, great customer service, great everything. And all of their people, they don't find those people. They make them there. They make them there, but they attract them.
Yeah,
same thing like if you go to PetSmart, the same type of people work at every PetSmart in the world. It's like these super dog lover people or cat lover people, friendly people. You walk in and they're just, the PetSmart people, and you got your Starbucks people. There's all types of people for those companies.
Yeah,
and that's why they're successful.
Wow. Yeah. So what motivates you when you're like you work 100-hour weeks, and you said you barely getting. You go to sleep late, wake up early. So, like, what is there one thing you can pinpoint that is driving you?
Family, for sure.
Yeah,
family. You want to give back to the people that helped you, and you want to make sure that you have a better tomorrow for your family. For your kids, for your wife, for your to leave a legacy. And first, you got to give back. First, you have to give back. At least in my mindset. I have to give back to my parents for the opportunity, for, you know, the patience, the love, the support that they've given me. You know, I guess that's like the key. And then after that, whatever's left over for my family. You know? But yeah.
You wake up, that's, yeah. And do you have kids?
Yeah, I have a son.
Son. How old is he?
8 years old.
How long?
8 years old.
Really? 8 years?
Andre.
Damn.
I'm not looking forward to kids yet.
No. Save it.
So
You're young.
So like it seems like some of your strongest traits and like it seems like what got you to where you're at right now is you know, consistently in discipline is some of the two things like you talked about like the most. What else other than that, like, or I guess, okay, so besides that, like I would say the same thing, like consistency and discipline is something that helps me like a lot as far as just making sure my mental is okay. So what else do you do to make sure like your own mental is like in check? How do you keep your mental in check? Like through all the hard work, you know, all the sacrifices you're making, like at the end of the day, how do you make sure like you're happy with yourself or you're okay mentally?
At the end of the day, for me personally, I think that working out, being fit is key.
Yeah.
Because if you feel good and you look good, you're gonna perform good.
Yeah.
And it helps relieve a lot of stress. Like a lot. Like it's the best therapist.
Right.
It's the best psychologist. You know? It's the best decompressor there is. You have a good back workout, a good leg workout, whatever you want to work out. And for me, usually like my back is huge because I like to work my back out because I have so much stress. And if I didn't work out my back, I would probably be all, you know, all messed up. So I like to work out like my back, especially when I'm super stressed.
Yeah.
Like I'll skip legs,
You
but I'll do back. And at the end of the day, you have to be selflessly selfish. And that's kind of complicated to understand because how could you be selflessly selfish, you know? And that's the balance that you're talking about with you personally. So you have to be selfless with your family and with others, and you have to give. But at the end of the day, you still have to be selfish.
Right.
And I like to compare that with when you're boarding a plane. What they tell you initially is, in case of an emergency landing or whatever, aquatic landing, or in case of an emergency landing, you will have these masks drop from the cabinets above you. And who puts it on first?
You put it on yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
you,
whoever's with you.
Yeah.
So that's how it always has to be. You always have to put the mask on yourself. And there's another book which can address specifically what you're talking about, which is called Principles by Ray Dalio, multi-billionaire. He manages a big hedge fund, and he's one of the richest people in the world. Ray Dalio, it's called Principles. And it talks about outlining your principles. And a lot of people, we've talked about the business side where you have Built to Last, which is one of the books. There's a ton of books that I can share with y'all, but that's like the one. And I buy that one for everyone when they come into the business. Not everybody reads it, but I buy it from everyone, you know? And that one structures the business part of your life. But Principles helps you structure your personal side of your life.
Right.
And with that one, you have to write what's important. I don't know when the last time you took some time to write the 3-5 things that were important. You might think you know them. You maybe think about them occasionally, but you haven't written them down. And you have to write them down. You have to see them. You have to visualize them. And you have to be constantly reminded, because all this information, all these problems, all the stress, all these things in modern life, that if you don't see those things every day, like advertising, you're going to forget them. And then you're not going to make decisions that are aligned with those principles. So, for example, I don't know, 3 things that are important to you. The most important. What would that be?
If I had to list one right now,
Yeah, if you have to list 3.
my family, my health, and my finances.
Your family, your health, and your finances. So, for example, if somebody invites you to Coachella tomorrow, that's how you have to decide.
Yeah. That doesn't align.
You know?
Right.
Does it align or does it not align with those? You know? And I'm not saying that we're all perfect.
Right,
We
right.
fuck up, we make bad decisions, we go out drinking, we get fucked up, whatever it is, we spend some money, we make, you know, you eat bad stuff, you might be in an, you know, situation.
Yeah.
A situationship or something like
Yeah,
that,
exactly.
a one night situationship, whatever it is, things like that. You know, there's different things that happen that detract you because we're human at the end of the day. But if 90% of the time, whenever you make a decision, you make it based off of those 3 things for you,
Yeah.
you're going to have a very successful life. Or at least a very fulfilling and satisfactory personal life.
Yeah.
And then that's where it's subjective as to what success really means to everybody. But you'll be content and at peace with yourself if 90% of the time, when you're sober and fully conscious, you make your decisions based off of those 3 things.
Right.
So that it really sounds like a lot of like unhappiness stems from going against the morals and principles you have internally.
Making bad decisions.
Just based off of that, yeah.
Yeah, like you usually are unhappy when you make a bad decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, you feel
You know, I
some type of
haven't made a single bad decision that I'm happy about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Facts.
So
Yeah.
it's on the business side,
Yeah.
you know, having a culture, having your mission and your vision, and on your personal side, having your principles. And whenever you make a decision, making sure that they align with them. So it's you promised your mom you're gonna go out to eat to wherever for brunch on a Saturday, but then Friday you got trashed, and then Saturday you're like, I'm hammered, or I'm not gonna go see her. Go have lunch. You just messed up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you acted against exactly what you thought was important to you. So it's clearly
Right.
not that important to you.
Yeah.
Right.
Damn. For the like, sorry.
It's like he just threw some
Yeah.
spark off.
Sorry, I was just thinking
It's
about
like,
what you
I
just
just
said,
missed
bro.
dinner with mom. It's like I
Fuck.
just missed dinner.
Type
No,
shit.
and you have to balance those things.
Yeah.
You know,
For sure.
and sometimes you got to go back to being selflessly selfish.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
sometimes like work comes first, because with work, you're able to make money and it helps your finances and it helps your family
Yeah.
at some point in your life.
Right.
You know, family always comes first, but on certain day-to-day decisions,
Yeah.
you're not going to quit your job or not show up to work because it's your mom's birthday. You're going to get fired.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So there's certain things where you know, there's non-negotiables. But for the most part, 90% of the time, if you have those things clear and listed, and those could change. Maybe you have a girlfriend. Maybe you have a son. Maybe, you know, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you don't want to work, and now religion and spirituality is your thing.
Yeah.
Is
I'm
yours
gonna change the battery real quick.
on mine?
Both of them.
Oh, okay.
What time do you usually get up?
Huh?
What time are you usually up?
It varies,
Yeah.
but usually early for sure. Like I've been slacking, to be honest, for the last couple months. So I've been waking up at 7.
7. It's like,
Yeah, I feel really guilty. 7:30.
Yeah, 7's still freaking pretty damn early.
But I try to wake up at 5. 5:30,
you
6.
still go to Backstreet?
Yeah.
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 Backstreet, which one is that?
Right across Angry Owl on Mesa.
Yeah, you see it all the time, bro.
It's on the left.
If you saw it, you'd be like, oh, I see that.
So past
You
Executive.
said passing where?
You know Angry Owl?
Angry Owl.
It's a bar and restaurant.
Yeah.
Like right before Montecillo, before you get to Malalam.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So it's on the right if you're going up Mesa.
Okay.
So if
Trying to
you
envision it.
pass, you know the hot dogs at Executive.
Mm-hmm.
So you're out, exit the hot dogs, and you go back Mesa. As if you were going to Montecillo,
Yeah.
before you even get to the Alamo, it's on the right.
On the right?
Yeah, it's kind of hidden.
I gotta see it. One time. I know exactly what you're talking about, though.
Yeah. So there's what's the first step someone can take, or maybe multiple steps, but for someone like, let's just say 22, 23, a lot of the common thing that I see like in my generation or just our age is like just people kind of just feeling. I'm sure a lot of it has to do with social media and stuff. I mean, they feel behind, they feel lost, they're not sure really what they envision for themselves and what they want to do. Let's just say if that were you in that position, like what would you do knowing what you know now?
So I think that first of all is don't compare yourself to anybody. You're not competing with anybody. And don't feel any type of way for having or not having what you see on social media. I think that one of the values that I have in the business is smile or attitude. I switched it over to attitude for Sushitto, but in Melting Pot it's smile. You know, you have way more to be thankful for than you can imagine. Like if you have your 5 fingers and you can talk, which you can, and you don't look deformed, and you can see and hear, and you're walking and you're not in any type of way impaired physically, you should already be thankful. Mm-hmm. There's people that would want to just be able to see one more time out of both eyes, or wish that they could walk. Like you're just out here trying to make money, or trying to do this or trying to do that, but you just be thankful. And if you're thankful for, hey, I got one more shot. Like I woke up today, I'm good. I might have some debt. I might have some problems. That's normal. I think that people have normalized not coping with reality, and they've labeled it as anxiety, which is a different conversation and a sensitive subject for a lot of people nowadays. Everybody has anxiety. Everybody has self-care days and mental health days. You don't have time for that. Like just get on with your life. It's not perfect. It's not perfect. It's not easy. And it's not comfortable. You can't be comfortable if you want to grow. We've said that several times, and you've heard it from many successful people. You have to be able to deal with not being comfortable. And I'm not saying that stress isn't a reality and that, you don't get some type of way and anxious, or it's stress. It's people that can't deal with stress that label it as anxiety. And you have to be able to deal with stress and be aware that it's stressful as hell to be alive, and that it's a challenge, but every day is an opportunity. And if you're thankful and you're always centered on, being aware that things will get better and that tough times don't last, tough people do, you'll be fine. You need to stop worrying about the future. People aren't living in now. Like the today. They're like, oh, I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't have that. But are you waking up early? Are you saving money? Are you, all the things that are going to get you to where you want to get or want to be? Are you doing all those things consistently? No, you're not. So a lot of those things, I guess, and it's hard. It's harsh. People don't like to hear that because they don't like to hear harsh things.
The realistic answer.
There's nothing else.
Yeah, it's pretty raw. It's pretty realistic.
People get upset. Oh, I have anxiety. You do not have anxiety. You just can't deal with the stress. Breathe. Go work out. Relax. Be thankful. Be grateful. It's okay. Yeah. Don't compare yourself to other people. And don't fall under the pressures of society. And social media has, hyper exaggerated those things. We all feel it. You go on your feed, everybody has a bomb ass car, nice ass house. Everybody's happy, everything is perfect except your life. That's not true. That's what you see. And it's not a reality. I don't know who I was talking to about this, but they were saying that I saw that TikTok has, I don't remember, you can Google it, but it has X amount of users. That's not even like a third of the world population. So you're not even seeing a third of what's actually out there. Same thing with Instagram. Like it's like this big, and the world is this big, but you think that the world is here. So if you can't deal with reality, you have to delete social media for a while so you can actually live reality.
Yeah.
Because that's not real. And knowing that that's not real is hard for people.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you, and this is kind of like backtracking, like, in what place were you mentally when you were just like farming, like over there with your dad, and like, and you had said you'd been doing it for 4 years. Like, I mean, was there ever a time where like you mentally felt like, just felt a little more like mentally discouraged or like mentally, you know, broken as far as, you know, like, is this it? Like, what's next? And I know you changed, like, you rewrote the script when you essentially like took out the middlemans and you like bossed up the company essentially. But like, what kind of led you to that point? And like, yeah, was it always just like, were you just like, you know, hard work and this is it? Or was there ever a moment where like you mentally just felt like so lost?
No, you are lost. Like, I'm still lost.
Yeah.
You know, I'm on the path, and I'm doing as much as I can that I can control to make sure that that path takes me to where I want to go, because the only person that controls where you're going is you. You know? But backtracking to that point, yeah, I was frustrated. Yeah, I cried. Yeah, I was upset. Yeah, I didn't want to do it. Yeah, it sucked. Fuck waking up at 5 a.m. every day. And, you know, going to bed at 10, 11, and then waking up at 5 a.m. again, and being in the cold and having no water or no hot water and cold showers in the winter, and being full of dirt and mud and oil and grease, and eating not healthy food and not working out and not seeing your friends. And, you know, like, I think that shaped me. But was it comfortable? It was not. Did I like it? No. But I do know now that had I stuck with that for a longer period of time, I would have made more money than I have now, for a fact, because I started again from scratch. And I went through exactly the same things.
Right.
I was working 100+ hour weeks, and I had dishwashers quit, and I had to teach people, and I was frustrated, and the businesses are cyclical, and sometimes you make money and sometimes you don't, and you made bad decisions, and then you have COVID, and then, you know, and I was running away from something, and ran right back into the same thing. Like, I thought, this is going to solve my life. I'm going to be so happy. This is going to be perfect. I'm going to make a lot of money, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not going to have any of the issues that I have here. But those issues are going to be found in any industry, in any business, because those issues are called life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you just have to persevere and
Yeah.
and have a good attitude at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Your attitude is key, whether it's what you like or whether it isn't. It's up to you to decide how long that's going to last.
For sure. Yeah.
At the end of the day, we have all these resources, and you have all these resources to improve your tomorrow. And you're not going to become a billionaire tomorrow. And if you do, hire me. For sure. You know, I work hard. But it takes time. Doesn't mean that you can't become rich, and that you can't have a better tomorrow, and then you can't like nice things and get them. It does not mean that. But you have to be patient, and you have to be consistent, and you have to be disciplined to get there. But if you're none of those and you're complaining, then you have anxiety. That's as easy as it is, you know?
Yeah.
For sure.
Somebody solve my problems. No, you solve your problems. Take ownership. You have a book right there that talks about that. You are the answer. And the moment that you realize that no one is going to solve those problems for you, even if you have a good financial situation at home, you're probably going to have to wait for your parents to die to get money. And if you're relying on you waiting for your parents to die to have money, then are you really living?
Right.
Then you're contributing to the problem. And a lot of people are just waiting for them to be saved, but they aren't really taking the steps to get there. And there's a lot of things that you need to do as far as budgeting, you know, other financial things that are important. But I think that, going back to your question, no, you know, like I wasn't super happy. I wasn't, you know, I wanted more. Definitely, we all want more, or at least I like to think that we all like more, because I want more. And in that process, you just have to learn to be patient and deal with adversity and the challenges, and overcome whatever happens. All the hurdles, just keep running. Don't stop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what's on the horizon for Arturo? You have the new bar hopefully opening up in what, June?
June. Yeah, we got June coming up.
Yeah. Any new
June.
Restaurant concepts or anything like that?
Yeah, I'm working on something probably towards the end of the year.
Yeah. Have you announced that one yet or no? No. Okay.
No. But something Italian.
Ooh.
That sounds
something Italian, something cool.
Hell
So
yeah.
that's what
I'm a sucker
about.
for some Italian food.
Yeah, so
Sure.
probably towards the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully that works out. But just, you know, making sure that I'm doing what I'm doing right, and that I continue to.
Yeah. And your day to day is more like, are you just popping into to Melting Pot, Sushitto, just constantly back and forth between those?
Yeah, just constantly talking to the team and giving them directions here and there, and letting them kind of run the business within the scope and system that I've created and that they've helped me, you know, develop, and just rewarding people. You have to continue to grow. Like, you cannot. If I stop growing, and if I stop opening new projects or new things, my team is going to automatically disappear. Because, or at least the key people, because they don't see a future. They don't see growth. And the only secret to continuing to grow is to continuing to grow. That's that. Like, if you're on my team and I'm chilling and I'm not working on anything, then you're just going to be in your job forever.
Yeah.
Because I don't have anything to give you to grow. So you have to continue to grow. Once you stop growing, then people will stop believing. At least those that are hungry and want to grow in you, and find somewhere else where they can see that growth. Sure. A lot of people leave companies because there's no growth. That's it. Like, I couldn't grow. Talented people.
Yeah. Damn. There was...
I ain't gonna lie, you had some things where you just totally messed my head up. I was like, damn.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But like, you literally hit it on the money like that, like almost like that saying, the grass is greener on the other side. Like, it always looks better than what it really is. Like, no matter what it is, like, no matter what career you're in or how much money you may be making, it always looks way better than what's really going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you just have to be consistent, disciplined, a good attitude, and know where you're going. And by knowing, you have to write it down. Yeah. So everybody that wants something, write it down. Write it down, and then read it every day, so you remember, and then work on what you're doing on a daily basis, which are your habits, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. No, for sure. I'm trying to think of like, I kind of heard this somewhere too, but it was like, I've never met someone that really was consistent and disciplined for like years and years, saying it like it didn't like work pan out. Yeah, exactly. Never. Like, I'm sure there's unfortunate situations, but for the most part, yeah, it's really tough to kind of pinpoint that. But.
In any industry, there's a lot of artists. I was actually thinking about it, or talking about it. Sorry, not too long ago. There's a lot of like famous artists, and I'll give you an example. Karim Leon. You know Karin Leon?
No, it doesn't ring a bell. No.
Maluma, same thing. If you know Maluma, like he had been working in the music business for years until he popped off.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of artists are exactly the same. There's obviously your overnight successes and then some people that stay consistent. But a lot of these overnight successes took 10, 12 years to make. And then after 12 years,
just one
they
day
made
to
it.
the next.
You know? But everybody's like, he made it overnight. No.
Yeah.
He was there working for 10 years and now it happened.
Right.
But he didn't quit, which is what you're saying, for 10 years. And I'm sure he thought about quitting a million times. Like we've all thought about quitting after a few months.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So it's just being consistent.
Yeah.
And there's this quote from Jim Carrey. Or not quote, but there's a little phrase that he says that Mondays don't suck. Your job doesn't suck. Your life doesn't suck. It's your shitty ass negative attitude that sucks. That's what it is. And the moment that you look into yourself and turn the switch on your attitude and your perspective, life changes automatically.
Mm-hmm.
Like magic. The moment you are humble, the moment you are committed, the moment you understand that things take time and you're patient, but you're consistent, everything aligns. Everything aligns. Like that opportunity with that guy, you know? He came in and he's like, hey, here's a checkbook because you're disciplined and consistent.
Mm-hmm. And he didn't even know what ideas you had. It was just because you as a person, you knew the type of work ethic you had, consistency. That's crazy.
And right now to this day, like fast forward 7 years later, I can ask a lot of people, like more than I can count with my fingers, for money. And blindfolded, they'll give it to me.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
So you don't even need to have money to be rich or make money or make things happen. You just need to be consistent and disciplined, and people will see that. You know, hard work and dedication, like Mayweather says. Hard work and dedication. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn, man. I think we
could
could
some serious game.
Yeah, that we could we could leave
some
it.
good freaking game.
We could leave it at that, but I mean that's almost what? 2 hours?
Close.
Damn.
I know this is our 4th time, so it's close.
Episode 35 of The Most Vulnerable Player.
Know it.
With Arturo
36 now after 2
Alluin.
hours.
That was episode 36. Yeah. But
thank you for having me.
Of course, man.
I appreciate you, man. It was a pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate both of y'all.
Yes, sir. And, you'll find this episode on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. And yeah, man, I mean, go visit Melting Pot, Sushitto, and then soon it's gonna be Kiyoshi. Yes, sir.
Kiyoshi Sound House.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like a vibe.
It's gonna be a vibe.
For sure, man. Well, pleasure, boss. Yes, sir.
Nice
See y'all next time.